Hello everyone, I am Miss Lipsa and today in this video we will discuss the poem I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings by Maya Angelou. Maya Angelou was an African American woman who was a poet, a novelist and a civil rights activist who raised a voice against the unequal treatment meted out to the African Americans in the US. She lived in a society that is in the southern part of United States where until 1965 under Jim Crow laws the black Americans were segregated because of their skin color. They were denied the freedom that should have been their basic human rights. And the first edition of this book, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings, was published in 1969. And this poem was published in 1983 edition. So, this poem metaphorically is a struggle of an African American whose words are not heard and who longs for freedom during the civil rights movement. But a caged bird has been used as a symbol. Symbolically, a caged bird has been used. And it is the struggle of an African American. Now, what are the themes of this poem? Themes. First theme is freedom versus enslavement. The freedom enjoyed by the white Americans and the lamentable state of captivity, confinement, enslavement of the black Americans or the African Americans. So, freedom versus enslavement. Second theme is racism and slavery. See, the enslaved black Americans were struggling to get the freedom, equal rights that they deserve as a human being in a racist society. The enslaved black Americans were struggling to get their freedom in a racist society. Now, what is a racist society? A society where there is discrimination directed against someone who belongs to a different race on the belief that that race is inferior. So, racism and slavery. Third one is voice against oppression. Now, see, the black Americans raised their voice against oppression because they were in a prolonged state of unjust treatment, a state of physical pain, mental agony, and they raised their voice. They sang, they danced, they demonstrated, and protested. And here in this poem, the caged bird raised his voice through his song. So his voice is his song. Now, what is the theme of the poem? These are the themes. Now, tone of the poem. What do you understand by tone? Tone is the general emotional weather of the poem. It is the attitude of the author, of the poet, the person who speaks. And here the tone of the poem is calm, direct, yet very powerful. The tone is calm, direct, yet very powerful. Now, let us discuss the poem. Stanza 1. A free bird leaps on the back of the wind and floats downstream till the current ends, and dips his wing in the orange sun rays and dares to claim the sky. A free bird leaps, that is, a free bird jumps, glides happily through the air. On the back of the wind, here wind has been personified. Through the air, he flies, he jumps, he moves freely through the air and floats downstream. What is downstream? Along the direction in which the stream flows, and here along the direction in which the wind blows. So the bird flies along the direction of the wind. So here it means the condition is favorable. So understood? Downstream, that is the direction in which the wind blows. It flies till the current ends. Till the current ends means till the wind is calm. So he flies and he dips his wing in the orange sun rays and dares to claim the sky. What is orange sun rays? Here the orange color symbolizes glow and happiness. The free bird is in a lively atmosphere, happy, lively atmosphere, and he can now he can immerse his wing in the free sky, in the lively atmosphere, and he can dares to claim the sky. He can dare to claim that the entire sky, the entire firmament is his big home. See, dare and claim. Here it is hyperbole. And these words, see, the bird is happy. These words suggest he can leap, he can dare, he can float, he can claim. These words suggest these words tell us the state of the happy bird, the free bird. Now the second stanza. Second stanza starts with the word but. Now, what does this word but suggest? This is a contrast. So the second stanza stands in stark contrast with the first one. And what is contrast? What is contrast? Contrast is actually used to heighten the effect of difference between two entities. And here the two entities are, in the first stanza it is the free bird, and second stanza it is the caged bird. These two entities, and this contrast now prepares the reader for prepared for the contrast because of this word but. So it starts with the word but. But a bird that stalks down his narrow cage can seldom see through his bars of rage. His wings are clipped and his feet are tied, so he opens his throat to sing. Now, the bird that stalks down his narrow cage. The bird is inside a cage, behind the bars. He wants to see. He wants to see as far as he desires, as far as a free bird can, but he fails because of the narrow cage. He is in a limited area. His movement is restricted. It is narrow cage. Can seldom see through. He is not able to see through his bars of rage because he is behind the bars. From behind the bars, he wants to see, but he cannot. So he is angry. So the bars are the bars of anger, bars of rage. Here, rage and cage. These two words rhyme with each other. We will discuss, although this poem doesn't have a particular rhyme scheme, there are certain words which rhyme with each other. It is with each other, and this is called internal rhyming. Now, his bars of rage, his wings are clipped and his feet are tied. His wings are clipped, that is trimmed, cut off. He cannot fly. That is the fundamental right. That's the basic right of a bird, to fly. But it is not able to fly because its wings are trimmed, feet are tied to the ground. So he opens his throat to sing. Now what he can do now? He cannot fly, he cannot move, but he can open his throat to sing. And from that, no one can stop him. No one can stop him from opening his throat and singing the song of freedom. And he is happy with that. He's happy and he's enjoying that singing. Now, third. The caged bird sings with fearful trill of things unknown, but longed for still, and his tune is heard on the distant hill, for the caged bird sings of freedom. The caged bird sings with fearful trill. voice is quavering. The voice is shaking. The voice is vibrating. Now here, trill. Trill is shaking, vibrating and quavering. The voice is shaking. With fearful trill, the bird is fearful. And it sings of the things unknown. Now what is this unknown? This unknown is the unknown freedom. Because he has never enjoyed freedom, he doesn't know what it is like. But he will enjoy if and when it comes. The caged bird sings with fearful trill of things unknown, that is unknown freedom, but longed for still. He doesn't know what it is like, but still he desires to have freedom. Trill, still and hill. These words rhyme with each other. Of things unknown but longed for means desired for, still, yet he desired for it. And his tune, his voice is heard on the distant hill. Distant hill here means a place. See, distant hill, a place that is far away, a distant place. His voice is not that loud, but it inspires others. It is a song of hope. So it is heard as a distant voice. Now see, tune is heard on the distant hill in a far off place. For the caged bird sings for freedom. The caged bird is singing the song of freedom. Now, stanza 4. The free bird thinks of another breeze, and the trade winds soft through the sighing trees, and the fat worms waiting on a dawn bright lawn, and he names the sky his own. Now the free bird is not content with what he has. He wants more. He has become greedy. So he thinks of another breeze, a different place with a different kind of breeze, wind. So it is a different breeze. And the trade winds soft through the sighing trees. Here the trade wind. Trade winds symbolize freedom of movement, and trade winds are the strong winds. Trade winds are the strong winds. Trade winds actually are those winds which blow towards the equator from northern hemisphere as well as from southern hemisphere. So these words suggest that now the bird is able to go anywhere it wants. So the strong winds to that place where there is strong winds. There are strong winds soft through the sighing trees. Because of these trade winds, the trees make a sighing sound. The trees breathe, and that produces a sound. Because of these winds, the leafy branches of the trees make a sound. And here see trees, sighing trees. Sighing trees have been personified. So he can go to a different place, a different kind of environment. It symbolizes the free bird's freedom. How much freedom, how much independence the bird enjoys. And the fat worms waiting on a dawn bright lawn, and he names the sky his own. The place where he is going is filled with fat worms, not just any worm. This suggests the quality of the resources that he is going to have. Fat worms are waiting for him on a dawn bright lawn. What is this dawn bright lawn? It is bright early morning. The bright early morning, endless possibilities, endless opportunities of a free bird. He doesn't have to search here and there. He is having a bright lawn, and fat worms are there. So he named the sky his own. He can name the entire sky his own because there is no competition. There is no one to challenge him. He can name the entire sky to to be his own house, to be his own home. Again, contrast. But a caged bird stands on the grave of dreams. His shadow shouts on a nightmare scream. His wings are clipped and his feet are tied. So he opens his throat to sing. Now again, the condition of the caged bird. The caged bird is standing on the grave of dreams. What is this grave of dreams? So many dreams this caged bird has. But all the dreams have died, buried. Now he is standing on the grave of his dreams. His shadow shouts. His shadow shouts. That is, voice is very weak. A soft background noise. A shadow sings rather than the bird itself. Who will hear the shout of a shadow? It reveals a sense of powerlessness. His shadow shouts on a nightmare scream. Nightmare scream, the shout of the caged bird has been compared with the scream of someone having a nightmare, the worst dream. His wings are clipped and his feet are tied, so he opens his throat to sing. Again it is repeated. His wings are clipped, trimmed. He cannot fly. His feet are tied to the ground. His movement is restricted. He cannot fly. He cannot move. So that is why he opens his throat to sing. He cannot utilize his wings. He cannot use his feet, but he can use his throat to sing the song of freedom. Now, is it clear? So, here, grave of dreams, nightmare scream, these phrases suggest the condition of the caged bird. Now, if the question is, what does the caged bird song reveal about him? Answer will be, he is unhappy, he wants freedom. Why does the caged bird sing? It is the only way left to him to express himself. He wants freedom, so he cannot fly, he cannot move, so he opens his throat to sing, to express himself. Last stanza, it is the repetition of the third stanza. Third stanza, the caged bird sings with fearful trill of things unknown, but longed for still, and his tune is heard on the distant hill, for the caged bird sings of freedom. Same, again repeated. So here it is repetition. Somewhere words are repeated, lines are repeated, phrases are repeated, and in this poem, entire stanza is repeated. And this repetition is just to lay emphasis on the pitiful condition of the caged bird. That is, the caged bird, wings clipped, feet tied, cannot fly, cannot move, but is singing the song of freedom. Now the poetic devices used in this poem. First one is alliteration. What is alliteration? Alliteration is the repetition of the consonant sounds used in two or more nearby words. So see, here we have already here, see, worms waiting, then shadow shouts. Here worms waiting, wo sound repeated, shadow shouts, sh sound repeated. Then we have the bird seldom sees through the bars, through the bars of rage, seldom see. So, sa sound repeated. This is alliteration. Repetition we have already discussed. Here the entire third stanza is repeated in the sixth stanza. Now personification. Personification we have already discussed. Here see, back of the wind. Wind has been personified. Back of the wind, the free wind, the bird flies. Here wind has been personified. One more is the sighing trees. The trees have been personified. Sighing trees. Then shadow shouts. Shadow has been personified. Here shadow. So see, wind has been personified. Wind. Then shadow, then trees. So personification. Next, we have hyperbole. What is hyperbole? Hyperbole is the exaggeration. So what are the hyperboles used here? See, he dares to claim the sky. The bird can dare to claim the sky. Dares and claim. These are the hyperbole. Similarly here, name the sky. Hyperbole. Exaggerated. This thing is exaggerated here. So this is hyperbole. Imagery. We have here visual imagery related to vision, viewing, auditory, listening, and kinesthetic. Kinesthetic is related to your movement. So what is visual imagery used? Visual imagery is here. Orange sky, orange sun rays. So visual imagery. You can visualize an orange sky, orange sun rays. So visual imagery. And what is your auditory imagery? Related to your listening, oral. See, we have here trill. The word trill. What does it mean? It is a sound related word. So trill is your auditory imagery. Trill then sings. Next is your kinesthetic. Kinesthetic is related to movement. So what are these words, the words used here? That can be, here we can say that these are the kinesthetic imageries. See, leaps, that is jumps. We have here leaps. Then dips, floats. So these are the kinesthetic imageries. Next is your metaphor. Here, metaphorically, the black Americans have been used. So that is metaphor. Symbolically, the caged bird. But metaphorically, the black Americans are referred to here.